Yeah, so as everyone is asking for the demo today, what is the agenda? So we are going to show our OpenLM, products demo to you. It is based on the popular demand that has been asked in our previous webinars. And we believe that this would really help you to understand how you can optimize your software assets, how you can get better reporting and analytics, how you can understand how are assets being utilized and not being utilized, and therefore you can save a lot of IT license costs for your organization. So yes, that's about it, Ayush, and also I wish you all of very good luck, and also keep watching and keep asking the questions on the chat side. With this, I give it to Branislav and Oren to start the webinar. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you very much for joining in today. We thank you for dedicating the time to us. Today, according to the request of the audience from the last two webinars, we will focus on the software, on our software itself, and drill down to the actual product. My name is Oren, and with me, my colleague leading our support and pre-sales and IT is Branislav. Looking forward to have this webinar together. We want to have a dialogue with you, so we invite you, even if you want to talk, ask question, comment about anything we say, and of course, use the chat. So Branislav, stage is yours.
Yes, good morning. Hello, everybody. And before I begin, I just want to say what I said already at the beginning before people started to join. We were brainstorming really hard on whether we can actually put everything into one webinar. And it's really not possible to talk about, because the OpenLM is now so widespread in its functionality that it's almost impossible to do everything in one session, and it could be counterproductive. So in this demo, we will really focus on the core product with some of the key extensions that interact with the core product to showcase you how this functionality can actually have a real benefit when you are managing your licenses. And it doesn't really have to be just engineering licenses anymore. We are trying to widen our horizons a little bit. So without further ado, because this was the primary request, don't show presentations but show the product. So today we would like to show you the product, and we haven't shown the product on our live webinar for, I believe, or maybe a year by now. So yeah, it's about time, because we did a lot of changes. So without further ado, I'm just gonna start. So what I'm sharing right now is the start of the Openlm interface. This is where you start once you install the product, and of course, once you configure some license managers. If you are just beginning, you will probably see only one or two, depending how you do the configuration. In our setup, we already have configured a lot more. We have some real-time data streaming. We have a lot of historical data, as you can see from various different applications and various different license managers. So what does this first screen show us? And behind that, what does it give us? How does it help us? So this first screen, as you can see, it's called License Manager Servers. And this is our interface to showcase all the configured license managers that you have in OpenLM. So as you can see in here, we are having some key players in the engineering field, for example, ANSA, ArcGIS, AutoCAD. We have CATIA, we have FlexPlus, we have, I'm gonna jump to the other screen. I'm sorry, I'm going to jump to another page.
Maybe a comment. Historically, it was always a license manager. Now it's a lot more than that. So it's applications.
Yes.
We are talking about applications.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I actually wanted to jump to another page, because as you can see in here, we are monitoring more than just applications, even more than just applications. We are, for example, tracking the utilization of our website. This is just an example. There is no real business case behind it, but I'm sure we will get to a discussion on why it can be important to tracking the attendance and usage of a website when we talk about some of the more web-based applications where we see the trend where it's going. So anyway, this interface, what is the backend? What does it actually give us? Well, it allows us to have one single point where we can see all of our applications. We can see whether they are running. We see in this case, I have the green light, which are up to date. So my broker is streaming data, my application is live, my license manager is functioning. Whether they're not running, maybe I have a problem. Maybe something is down due to a network error. Maybe the license has expired. That's why the license manager manager is not reporting. And I can see an overall view of how many licenses do I have and how many licenses do I use. So that is one business case of why this is already better, because you can have 25 different vendors and they can all provide you maybe with some basic interface on when you can see the licenses, or maybe even offer you where you can go ahead and check the utilization. But for that purpose, you need to go to 10, 15, 20 different pages or utilize 10 different smaller utilities. With OpenLM, you get it all in one screen. It's very clear, and you can play with it. Now, it's not the only functionality that we actually have in this interface. As you can see, I have this button that is called broker in here, and this broker button actually allows me to go to window that is connected to the broker, to the OpenLM component that is running on the license server itself, and it's managing the license manager itself. And in here, I can do a certain amount of management. So without OpenLM, or historically, the person who is managing the license managers, we can call him license manager as well, or application owner, whatever you want. I really hate that these two terms, sound the same, but in one case we have a person and in the other case we have an application. So in this window, you can do a certain degree of management from the OpenLM interface itself. So as you can see, you can start the license server, you can stop the license server, and you can read the license server. You can also do a certain actions that we are quite proud of, and this is where the real benefit of the remote management comes in. So as you can see, I have a button here called Manage Files. And when I open it, I actually can see that there are some files that are actually located on the license server itself. And I can download these files. One of them being a log file that is being produced by the license manager, a license file that again is given to us by vendor, and I can go ahead, I can download it. And if I get the new license file from the vendor, I can also upload the new license file, which will actually replace the old license file, take a backup of the old license file, and then I can go and reload the license file, and I have all the new licenses that I have received from the vendor already in place on the server, and I don't have to log into the server directly. Sorry, let me drink a little bit here. So why is this good? Well, of course, if you are managing one license server, you're probably only going to see a little bit of a difference. But in a bigger environment where you have, 15, 20, maybe 100, we do have customers that have more than 100 license servers. The time spent by a single person in managing these license servers can go way to the extreme, because they need to have access to every server, they need to log in remotely there, they need to do the management, they need to replace the license file manually, etc. And this can become very time consuming. And there is also a second added benefit to this. It is also a security issue. In today's world, where we hear about IT security becoming to the forefront, everybody is asking us to be more secure, to put the policies in, put the controls in, put encryptions, put two-factor authentication. It's probably not as secure if you have a server pool, and not only the server administrator has access, but also the person responsible for the engineering licenses has access. And this, in many cases, is not a person that is coming from the IT portion of the organization. So with OpenLM, at least for the FlexLM license managers, as I just illustrated, you can do the remote management directly through the web interface, and you don't need to allow your CAD managers to access the licenses. Oren?
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to comment that yes, probably, usually they don't have access, and it's not good that the license manager will have access because he's not an IT administrator. Typically, license server would be implemented on Linux, which not many people know, and we want also to record the actions that were done and know what was actually done. And when something goes wrong, we would like to be able to investigate and find what happened.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. So anyway, what is next? What can you access from this interface that again can give you some already some value? So, and that is the real-time utilization. What is happening right now with your licenses? And you can see actually the inventory and the real-time utilization that is happening right now. So let us take this ArcGIS product here from Esri and go from this window with license managers where we can directly click on the button that says quantity, and it will load the window for us. That is sort of a small procurement window, which shows us the inventory of this particular license manager. So as you can see, within these columns, we have the license server name, the vendor name, we have the feature name that we are looking at, we have the product name that is associated with the feature. And when I go a little bit to the right, we can see how many of these licenses we actually have. And if we so choose, like let's take ArcGIS Viewer, for example, with a simple click of another button, we can go to another screen. And in here, we will immediately see how many licenses are actually being currently consumed and what is consuming these licenses. So as you can see, I have some names, we have invented these names for the purpose of the demonstration. I can see here, Curtis is taking ArcGIS Viewer. I can click on the name. I can get some information about this person. If I have connected my Active Directory, of course, more information will be loaded in this window. And scrolling a little bit to the left, as you can see, you can group the users by certain parameters. Like in this case, let's say we are grouping them by country or a location or a region as USA, Europe, and we are also grouping them by their department. So in this case, we are saying that they are in the engineering department. And some more valuable data that you can see right away. So there is the start time when the session was actually taken by the user. For some license managers do also support showcasing the IP address of the end workstation. We can see the workstation where the user took the license from, and we can see the duration of the sessions. And in here, we can already see some valuable information. And we are just in the first window, one of the first windows of Openlm. So some of these users have been working fairly all right, taking 1 hour, 40 minutes, 3 hour, 40 minutes, 5 hour, 40 minutes, which can be reasonable given the selected time frame. So the person came to the work in the morning, started the ArcGIS Viewer application, has been working for 1 hour or 3 hours or 5. But we already see something suspicious in here. We have a user that's been taking the license for 5 days. And from this, we can already infer just at the beginning, we are just started using Openlm, we've been doing it for the first 30 minutes, and we already have something suspicious here. We see a user has been taking the license for 5 days. So, and we can reasonably say that most likely the person has not been working for 5 days in a row. So that's the basic of the real-time utilization. We can see more data here like user idle time, but we will get to that at the later stage of the presentation because I specifically prepared for this webinar to showcase you the idle time interface as well. So Oren, if I believe, unless you want to add anything here.
Yeah, I wanted to add a small thing. You clicked on the user and you got the windows with the details. So, and you mentioned that if you sync it with Active Directory, will bring all user details. So actually users can communicate. One of the main principles of OpenLM is to take this resource, the FlexLM or whatever license manager you are using, which is a departmental resource, and connect it to the actual organization and the IT system of the organization, and to make it a coherent one system. And we achieve this in many ways. One is connected the entity in the license manager, the username that pulls the license, to actually the person that is in the organization. We connect the roles and and permissions and all the other things, but let's not dive in more into that. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay, so now what's the time for your data collection slide?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I will keep it short because the request was to see the actual system. So I want to talk very shortly about data collection. So actually, our platform is collecting data from the different license managers and applications and different interfaces that vendors provide, and we bring the data back to you in order to bring you the most important data. It's the usage sessions. So actually OpenLM goes down to the lowest level and bring you the usage sessions of each user, start time, end time, what am I using, on which workstation, where I am. That's the important information. And from that, you can get anything that you want, any information that will support the decisions you want to get to. So what do we collect? So the first thing is to mention is license server, typically used for engineering application. And in order to collect the data, we apply many different techniques, such as license output, log files, options file, configuration files. We collect the data from anywhere possible. We send it to the data processing component, and this component will do a data fusion action, because sometimes there are different sources of data. It doesn't always match perfectly. We are doing the adjustment and saving the session data that you need. But this is not enough. We can't get everything, so we also have different agents. Starting with the operating system agent that is with us already more than 13 years, and it collects data from anything that happens on the user workstation. It can be engineering licensing, different application without a licensing at all, from the browser activity. So any application that is running on the browser, and there are many we are using day to day, we collect everything using the operating system agent. If this is not possible to deploy it, then we have a browser agent. The browser agent is something you take from the web store of the specific browser supported in your organization, and you can collect the data and send it to OpenLM. We also have IDE agent to report developers' activity, and we have dedicated agents for specific products that are more complex to manage, such as Autodesk, MATLAB, and many others. And you can install actually an extension and get a lot more specific functionality. And again, eventually, our goal is to bring you the data on the session level. After that, we can analyze it, we can apply statistic, computation, or whatever to get to the decision you need. Thank you, Boris.
Thank you, Oren. You know, that I could not have explained it like that. And this, hey, you came up with the system together with Rachel, so I think you are the correct person to do this. Okay, so let's move a little bit further into the system. So now we have showcased the real-time usage. So what is happening right now? But what is happening right now is not something, I don't want to say that, it's not something that's extremely useful. It has its uses, but usually when you are looking at your software, especially an engineering software or specialty software, you want to see what was happening in the past, because you need to prepare, whether it's your engineering department is asking you for more licenses, people are complaining that they don't have enough licenses, or renewal is coming and you need to prepare for the discussion with vendor to see, do you need more? Maybe you can get less, maybe you can save some money. All of this actually involves checking out historical data. So in here, we are going to showcase a license usage report, which is basically showcasing a peak usage versus the quantity you owned. And I have prepared some demo data in here, which we can showcase to ourselves. Let me run the report. I'm going to make it red so it's actually more clear. So as you can see on the left side of every OpenLM report, you have a filtering screen. And in this filtering screen, you can filter by server names, by vendor names, by license types. For the license usage report, we always look at the feature level of the license manager. So you need to pick at least a single feature, but you can pick more. And this is very useful if you have something like CATIA or NX environment and you have licenses in multiple regions, but you want to see the overall utilization because maybe the license scope is bi-regional for you or the license scope is global for you. You can actually stack them one on top of another, and the report with this simple tick displays separate chart lines for each feature. If you get it away, it will calculate the total usage together of that particular feature, which is very important. Like I said, for example, CATIA, you have the HD2 license, which we are showcasing right now, which is used to start the product. And For a bigger organization, you don't have a one license server pool, you have multiple license server pools, and you have overlapping usage scopes. And to get the overall picture, what's happening in the organization, you want to stack these licenses together. Now, we also do allow you to filter this report and all the other reports as well by users or workstations or groups, or if you choose to use the Openlm project functionality, which is mostly used to do chargeback billing for on a project level, which some of our customers are happy to use. You can also do that. Now you can showcase the report by different aggregation, hours, days, weeks, or months. And then, of course, the most straightforward or self-explanatory is the date range for how long do you want to see the usage. So in here, I am checking my HG2 license that I have located in Austria for CATIA, and I can see the report. As you can see, on the top, I have the line that is showing the quantity of the licenses owned. And in the graph, I have showing the peak utilization as it is happening over month. Now, in this graph, I can zoom it a little bit if I want to. Maybe in here, I just want to say see 1 week, or I can again zoom it out. Now, what do I see from this graph? I see from this graph that this particular license for this application is doing pretty okay. You know, I am never reaching the peak actually. So I can know that my users are not getting denials. Everybody is able to work all the time, which is, of course, something that most organizations probably want to achieve. But at the same time, the difference between the peak and the quantity owned is not too high. So I am not too over licensed. But especially in the case of this graph, if I wanted to go ahead and maybe try to reduce some licenses, I would be able to do that. And I can already see this from the simple graph. And we will show some other examples. But before I do that, I also want to show you that we show this report as a table, if you want to see it as a table, and as a heat map, which is something that the management is more keen to like. So you can see in the heat map, you can actually see how the license usage is evolving day by day. And the graphics, the colors are changing. So the more users start using these licenses, the color goes from green to yellow to orange to dark red. And with this already gives me a visual indication of how this particular license is doing, what's happening with it. And as you can see, you can also see some patterns like directly in this report. So you see, this is the time zone here is different. So as you can see, it's green at the beginning. It gets more red as people come to the office, they start taking the licenses, and then it again dies on. I can't show the whole report because I have too wide screen and I need to zoom so you can actually see the numbers. And then again, interesting what you can see here, Saturday, Sunday, people are not at the office, so the license utilization dies down. But again, and this is my favorite because I always, and I've been doing this work for many, many years before I joined Openlm, as some of you may know, I always like to fish for the suspicious activity, because no matter how good your environment is configured, there will always be suspicious activity. There will always be users who try to bend the rules or do something that they are not supposed to do. And again, in here, I can already see that even though it's Saturday, some people are taking licenses. And I can ask myself the question, so are these people actually doing production work, or are these people just leaving their software open and taking licenses? And it maybe for CATIA with this concurrent model, it's not that big of a problem for me because I already paid for the license. But when I look at something like the Autodesk Token Flex model, the enterprise token flex, now this would be a problem because the person who is keeping the application open is just taking the tokens day after day after day, even though they're not working. So let's go back to the chart a little bit and showcase some different case scenarios in here. So as you can see, I named the filters. This one is demo high usage, and we will switch to another application, which is called Kisters. Let me make it red again. And in here, I can see this monthly report is already showcasing me something completely different. I may zoom it to just show a weekly utilization, but again, you see very different. I have the line that is showcasing me the peak, the quantity owned, but my peak is hitting the quantity very often, basically every day. As you can see, the licenses are all being taken out. Now, again, what does this tell me? In this case, I most likely am getting denials. I can just see this directly from the graph. So that means there are users that cannot work for certain periods of time. Now, again, I cannot tell you what needs to be done about it because every organization is different. Some organization may be more focused on actually having the licenses more optimized. They are not doing well, they cannot spend more money, and they are okay with some of the engineers not being able to work for a certain period of time. But other organizations may be more focused on making sure that everybody gets the license all the time. And now in here, I can immediately see from this graph that I have a problem. I don't have enough licenses and my users are getting denied. And again, the same thing will be translated into the heat map. As you can see, the graphics is full red, all the licenses are taken here, and maybe I need to do something about it. Let's show a third case scenario in this license usage report. I'm going to apply another filter here, and we will be looking at ANSA application in China and loading the graph. Again, I'm making it red. So as you can see, this is a completely opposite scenario. In here, my quantity is 6,000 tokens, but my usage rarely goes above 1,000. I have some peaks where it's 1.3K, but overall, you know, it's around that 1,000, maybe 1,100 line. So again, in this case, I know I am very, very safe. I have plenty of licenses, or in the case of ANSA, it actually uses tokens. I have plenty of tokens to go around. Now, what can I do here? Well, obviously, when the renewal comes, I can go ahead, I can talk to the vendor. Maybe I have a relationship with the vendor where the vendor actually is accepting some utilization from me, so I can showcase him the graph, or I can showcase him the heat map, or I can just go and add the report and compile it myself. As you can see in the heat map, completely everything is green. So with this license, we have plenty. So for the renewal, we can go, and we know that we have the ability to reduce. Now, of course, the reduction may be tied to also some other business decision, like what is the outlook for the organization for this particular application? What is my contract with vendor? Am I allowed to reduce? What are the terms of the reduction? But as you can see, with a simple click, if you configure the report correctly, and let me tell you, you can actually, as you can see, I have filters here. You can pre-configure the reports, and then you can run them with 2 clicks of a button and immediately get the sense of how your licenses are doing. So I believe, Oren, do you want anything to add to the license usage report?
Well, because we do, no, I'm saying we don't have a lot of time, so we'll move forward. Okay, so I as we planned, just a small note about engineering license managers and compliance. So the compliance in engineering license management. Okay, let's start differently. So the promise of the license manager to the end user is that, okay, we are taking care of the compliance. You don't need to bother with that. So if you're legally using the license manager, you should be okay. Actually, it's not fully correct. And just 2 examples because of the time limitations. So geography is not covered by license manager. So if you have a limitation, for example, only use it in this continent, only use it in a country, you paid a bit less than global licenses, but it won't be enforced by the license manager. So it's actually your role to make sure that you are compliant. Another aspect you need to take into account is for named licenses managed by engineering license manager, and there are limitations that are contractual on the ability to move licenses, the allocation between one user to another. So maybe once a quarter, sometimes once a month. And this is something that is not enforced by the license managers, and there are more things. I've been working in an organization where many years ago, where we got a second license manager as a backup. And the condition was don't use the 2 of them. But still, there are always smart people that are locating the port and connecting and taking licenses, and this is our responsibilities. We also have seen many cases from our customer of people that saying people bring pirated licenses to our environment, use it here, and risking us from being non-compliant. And this is also something we have taken care in the past. Is there another slide, Branislav? I think there are 2 in this. One note about Cloud License Manager. So it's becoming more and more popular. And also, you might think, there is a Cloud License Manager, I don't care, compliance is built into it, and it's not. It's not. You can read a lot in forums about complaints from Autodesk users about their policies. Subscription is named to a person, not to a generic email, cad11@domain.com. It's for a specific users, and in many cases we see in organizations that multiple users are using the same subscription. Also, vendors are very, they care a lot about you using it on the number of machine they expect. So in subscription, it's typically either one machine where you consume it, or sometimes based on the policy, can be a workstation, home workstation, and maybe a laptop. So 3 of them, but not 10 and not 20 workstations. So just few aspects of compliance. Thank you, Brian.
Yep. Compliance is an important topic. And I am actually, before I move to the session activity, I want to at least give you an theoretical knowledge of how can you do it with Openlm. So as we established at the beginning, as I showed you, you can group the users of Openlm into different groups. One of the options, and this is option that many of our customers pick, is to group them by regions or by countries or by the individual address where the user is sitting. And especially when you are syncing with Active Directory, you already have all the information in Openlm from the directory sync, and you can create the grouping like that. Of course, the other side of the grouping system is that there are customers, and again, it's a substantial pool that like to do the grouping to do chargeback billing because they don't have a centralized engine, or they have centralized engineering budget and they want to group it by department or by business unit, so they can group the system like that. But if you opt to create a grouping based on the region, you can very easily cover the regional compliance limitations, as Oren explained. By definition, by default, this is not enforced by the license manager. And of course, some of the industry standard license managers like DSLS or FlexLM give you the ability to enforce the rules, but you need to create a ruling system. But OpenLM, with its grouping report, can actually tell you this very easily, because you can go ahead, you can add a group into the filter, and let's say, I'm now looking at my ANSI licenses in China. I can add my other groups in my organization, like let's say I can add Europe, I can add US, I can add Japan, and I can run this report. And the moment I see that there is any utilization, I already know that I am non-compliant. And the next step would be, again, very simple. What do I do when I am non-compliant? Where I can go from this license usage report to a license activity report. And by the way, you can actually click into any part of this graph and it will open up the license activity report to show you all the sessions from that particular time frame. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to use my prepared demo system. So in here, we are looking at the license activity report. And the license activity report is, together with license usage, I like to call it the bread and butter of OpenLM. So again, as you can see on the left side, the filtering system is the same with some different triggers, like it can include current activity, so what is happening actually right now in real time, and it can exclude unconsumed reservation. But the filtering, again, you can go by the server name, you can go by the vendor name, you can add features, you can filter by users, groups, workstations, and whatnot. So, and the license activity report, why is it important? Why is it good? So as you can see, I'm using a filter period of last 30 days, but I could also use something like last 7 days to maybe get a little bit less records. And as you can see, I have 1,000 records about. So, for the size of my organization, this is pretty all right. And I can see every individual session that happened for every individual license manager and every user within this time period. So what does this tell me? Well, it tells me when the user started the session. As you can see, there is a start time. When the user ended the session, there is an end time. Which vendor is the user working with? In this case, ADS Flex, that's Autodesk, that's the name of the server, the type of the license, which feature did the user take. In this case, you can see this will be something from the Autodesk portfolio. We will zoom this group a little bit, and we can see that the user has taken Autodesk simulation product. I can see how much time has he been working within the totally, how long the session was. I can see the usage time within the filter period. In this case, I'm filtering for 7 days. And as I said, if I have a grouping system, I can also see which group this user belongs to. So this is important because for this engineering world that we have been living in, it's very important to know what are your users doing. And the usage report that shows you in a graph what is happening with the license, but the license activity actually drills down to the individual session level and showcases you what is happening with the licenses by these individual users. Now, this report alone, of course, you can export it to a CSV table. You can play around with it. You can map it. You can create your own graphs out of it. We know some customers do like to do that, connected to their systems. But even directly in Openlm, this can, again, give you valuable information. So as you can see in here on the top, I have this group by button. And we do allow you to group the data by different parameters. Now, one of my favorite ones is grouping it by user, because this, again, as I told you, I like to fish for the extremities. I like to fish for the suspicious behavior. This, again, gives you immediate value. So I'm going to sort this by the total usage time of the license. And I can see, I should actually use the total usage time within the filter period, because I want to see what's happened in the last 7 days in my organization with my licenses. So I can see that Mr. or Mrs. Gail Ruiz here has been using something for 193 hours. Now I know that my usual work week is something somewhere around 40 hours, maybe 50 hours, depending on where you are located in the world and what type of organization or what type of your contract is. But in here, the reasonable expectation would be that a single user is working, if they're really dedicated worker for one particular application, somewhere between 30 to maybe 50 hours. So everything that is above that already gives me suspicion. What is happening? Why is this user taking the license for such a long time? Again, I'm going to circle back to the favorite behavior that we see if you are managing licenses for an organization. You have probably been dealing with this very, very often. People tend to start the application and not use it all the time, not close it or not close their laptop, leave it open at the office. Now, with big environments, with overlapping license pools, overlapping license usage scopes, this can mean that a single user is actively preventing another user from working, maybe even two users. If you have a global license, that can cover 24 hours over the globe, and somebody is taking it for 24 hours and working just 8, is actively preventing two other users from being able to work. Now, another use, I'm just gonna turn this filter on the other side to show the other end of the extremities. And that's somebody has just used this application for 20 minutes. Now, from personal experience, we usually fished for the higher values because those indicate suspicious behavior. But if you are really pressed by your management to optimize the licenses really down to every single license to make sure you are completely almost at 100% usage, but not quite, you may also ask yourselves, why are some of these users taking the license and just using it for 20 minutes within a 7 days period? Is there even a real business case for a such user to even take the license? Maybe there is something that's not even configured correctly. As you know, many of the engineering system, Katya is a prime example, and it's such an expensive piece of software. They don't actively prevent you in picking all the licenses that you have in the pool. No, you can go ahead and you can pick all the licenses that are available to you, the AG2, the base license, all the different space analysis, kinematics, electrical modules. Nothing is preventing you from actively, opening these license options in CATIA, taking all the licenses, restarting the program and working. And maybe you don't even know why this license is there, but it's, again, we are human beings, and subconsciously we try to get the most of everything that we can. So, sometimes
I must comment here.
Go.
When we started 15 years ago, Openlm started with managing ArcGIS application, which is actually the best GIS software worldwide from a company called Esri. And they had this platform called Esri ArcGIS, and it's based on a base license and an extension. And the problem with the extension was that once you use an extension, it will always load again when you open it. So let's say I needed one of the extension, I used it once, then I closed, I don't need it anymore, but it will load again and again into the software. If I used more, then everything will be loaded again and again. And the simple thing that we did is we created a functionality implemented by our extension that unloads the extensions when you close the project. And even this simple functionality saved huge amounts of money to organization because everything was unloaded. Next time you open the project, only what you actually implemented is loaded, and only this small functionality saved huge amount of money to our customers.
Thank you. And I can tell you that CATIA works in exactly the same way. Once you click it in, and next time you come to work and start the program, you'll take all the licenses. And there are some modules that many organizations, of course, the pool of the base license will be big because you have maybe 1,000 engineers. So you're looking at something like 400 or 500 licenses. If you have global, you maybe have even less, but you may have only 15 kinematic licenses because they are extremely expensive. It's not really every engineer needs to work with them. But once you click it, until you unclick it, you will keep taking it and preventing somebody else from work. Anyway, we are really running out of time here and we only covered the real basics. So these other small feature that I want to bring the attention of the audience to is, again, you can group by group, which is an interesting follow-up. But in here, you can, again, track what is happening with your group. So you can see I have some China, USA, and Europe engineering departments and design departments that are taking my licenses. Now I could go into the left side of the screen and pick one of my applications. Let's say I could pick my CATIA usage in Germany, run this same report. Now this comes empty. So I know I'm actually safe because nobody from Germany has been taking these licenses from this group. So it's okay. Anyway, so I'm going to clear the filter here because I wanted to show you one more thing with the license activity report because it's really important. I'm going to use this AutoCAD internal server that I prepared yesterday specifically for this demonstration and showcase you some license activity that I created myself yesterday. So as you can see, I've been working yesterday with AutoCAD, or at least I was pretending to be working with AutoCAD. And you can see the same information that I have already showcased during the license activity report. Now with the added value. So I'm also using an Openlm agent in this case. And the Openlm agent is a component that is installed on the end user workstation. As Oren explained in the first design slide, it's another data source that comes to our system. So the one being the network license manager, which we take the usage data from, and the agent is complementing the data set that we take from the license manager. So as you can see in here, I've been using AutoCAD for some time within the filter period, not too many. I created some sessions, 29 minutes, 7 minutes, 9 minutes. But because I was not really behaving user, I also created some idle time. So I was working with AutoCAD and then something else came up. So I had to alt tab, I had to go to a call with Oren, and I left my AutoCAD running on the backend. And this is something that I shouldn't do. Of course, this is a sample size. So, 9 minutes versus 3 minutes, it's not exactly the end of the world. But if it was 9 hours versus 3 hours, that would be a substantial amount of time that I was taking the license. So as you can see, the Openlm agent can very nicely showcase you in this table the difference between how long have you been actually taking the license for 19 minutes and how much time of those 19 minutes you have actually been idling. And not to mention the extended functionality that after you idle for a certain period of time, AutoCAD is closed. And I actually forgot yesterday that I enabled this functionality and I wanted to go back to AutoCAD to actually do some test drawing, and I couldn't see it on my computer because Openlm closed it for me. And a small addition in here. So we also offer you this small graph where you can actually see the process of what I was doing with the license yesterday. So you can see the active time period, then you can see as it goes down in here, all this time I'm idling, and then I'm picking it back. All right,
I'm not sure what people might learn from this webinar that we just did, this short one, but one conclusion for sure is correct. We talk too much, the two of us. So we always plan to show so many things, and then we only do a quarter of what we plan.
I think in this case we'll simply do a follow-up, because we are about 50% of what we wanted to speak about, because there is a lot more of extended functionality, but
Yeah.
I think it is okay to cut it off at this point. Sudipta, would you agree? Because we really want to give some space for questions, and I don't want to open another topic without actually being able to close it.
We can take quick 2 minutes and then get started on the questions. We have 4 questions so far. Yeah, so I am putting it on the chat. Yes, we can continue for 2 more minutes.
So here's the deal. I don't want to open up another topic, because this actually very nicely wrapped up the complete basic functionality of OpenLM. And I think we were able to showcase very nicely that even with the 2 simple reports and the license dashboard screen that we have, you can already get a lot of automation and information just by using this.
Yes, so it's really the basics of the basics. Many reports that we didn't go over and many other things, but yeah, it's a good introduction. Okay, let's go on, Sudipta. Let's start with the question and discussion. Look, guys, I invite you to open your microphone and let's talk. So we really want to communicate.
Yes, so if you can see us, so here we come with Thomas' question. He's asking, can you group users according to their IP addresses in case of FlexLM, MATLAB, if there are defined some ranges of IP addresses? So that's the first question.
Branislav, go.
You are muted, Branislav.
I'm muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can you group users according to their IP addresses? So not by their IP addresses, not directly in the interface. We do offer the option to group it by workstations, but we don't offer you the option to group it by IP addresses. This is mainly one of the reasons is that every license manager will project the workstation, but not every license manager will project the IP address. So,
but we do collect, we do resolve the
yes.
IP address.
Yes, we do resolve. I'm just saying that not all the time it's available. So like directly in the interface, the group by option is not there. You cannot group it by IP address, but you can export this report, and there you can, in a CSV format, and there you can group it by IP address, or something that we actually wanted to showcase. We have a business intelligence extension where you can do that, without any problems. But it's not, we have to be honest, it's not part of the web interface itself, grouping by IP addresses.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just would like to say one quick word to the audience. If you are, want to go live, you can just unmute and ask the question. So I go to the next question asked by Jess. Can you monitor which applications a user is using from a serialized collection of CAD applications? For example, Autodesk product design and manufacturing collection.
Oran, you want to take this one?
So the question is, let me try. So the question is, so if there is a collection, what specific product is the user actually consuming from the collection itself? Because we don't care about the collection. We want to know the specific product so we can plan how to plan our licensing. And there are many changes in Autodesk licensing, so I assume that we are referring to the subscription licensing. So if it was a FlexLM license manager working with Autodesk, yes, we can. Branislav, you say later if I'm accurate. And about the collections in the subscriptions, yes, if you install our extension on Autodesk, then we should be able to tell you which specific product is used. Branislav?
Yep, I agree. No further comments.
Okay, great. Moving to the last two questions asked by Manil. First question, how is costing calculated for using OpenLM? For example, do you charge per license server or per vendor daemon? And the second question, can you revoke licenses via this OpenLM interface?
Okay, I will take these two. So the first question is about the licensing. Do we charge by the license manager? The answer is yes, we did in the past, but now we have a new model, and it's new in many ways. One of the nice things is it's completely open and transparent. So if you go to our website pricing, you can see that we are now charging by the user, and you can see exactly what you get and the price. And the only thing that you can't yet see on the website is what is the volume discount, which is very significant. And so we are charging by the user, and we encourage our users to monitor as many applications as possible. So it means engineering application with license managers. It might be standalone products, maybe without licensing at all, maybe cloud applications that may be running on your desktop as a desktop application with licensing on the cloud, maybe applications that are running as on the browser window. And we encourage you to monitor everything you need using our platform. I forgot what was the second question.
I actually prepared the screenshot. By the way, guys, we have nine more questions. We have 9 more questions in the Q&A interface. So
yes.
Okay, so take the second one. I forgot what
can you revoke licenses? So you see, this is actually what I am showcasing right now. So I started the AutoCAD on my computer, and as you can see, it's showing under currently consumed licenses. I took the Autodesk Infrastructure Design Standard. Right now, I have Autodesk open, AutoCAD open on my computer. You see, I've been taking the license for 7 minutes here. I've been idling just for a couple of seconds because I was actively in there, but I can see the idle time. And in here, I have 2 buttons in the interface, and these are connected to the Openlm agent. And I can either remove the license file or I can close the application. Now, the close application functionality is not something that we offer for everything. At least not closing it in a safe manner, like saving your data or suspending the application. For some applications, we only offer the kill option, but for the AutoCAD, we have a very good extension in this case that I am actually using through the Openlm agent. So if I click this button, the application gets closed on my computer and the license gets returned back to the pool. Please bear in mind that the kill functionality, we can do it for any executable that you want. Like that's what I'm saying. There is a difference between killing the process and safely saving the process, safely closing the process and saving the user data, or safely suspending and resuming the process. We do have a pool of applications where we can do this, but we can kill for anything. If you are looking to remotely shut down through the interface, let's say, I don't know, Team Center executable, you can do that. You can configure it, and based on the threshold, the agent can actually shut down the application for you.
Maybe one more comment I wanted to add, whether you're a customer or a prospect, OpenLM is looking forward to support more and more license managers. We are already supporting more than 60 different license managers, and we constantly develop support for more. So if you need our support, if you need us to support a license manager, please contact us. We are looking forward to do that. Sometimes we need your assistance, so to get some log files, to get some license output, and we do it together. Thank you.
And just one quick thing, I think it's also very important. You can claim your 30 days free trial, and you can use your real-time organization data, and you can use the system real in action. So I have also shared the 30 days free trial link. So feel free to use that, and we'll be able to help you better. Thanks.
Okay, let's go, Sudipta. We need to go to the questions because there's 11 questions now and
Go
they're
ahead.
popping up here.
Yes. Yeah, Brandon, go ahead.
So I'm just going to randomly start picking them. Rita is asking, what about Adobe? You can see it among the vendors listed. So of course, with Adobe, this is a little bit different because Adobe doesn't have a centralized network system where we can actually connect to and get the usage from. It's not a concurrent network application. It's a standard executable, whether you're using the Creative Cloud or the Document Cloud. But we can connect to the Adobe interface to get what is there, to get the allocations. And if you so choose to, you can also use the Openlm agent to enable tracking any Adobe product that you like in the organization. So whether you are more interested in tracking Photoshop or InDesign from the Creative Cloud, we do have some customers that actually are interested in tracking the Acrobat as well, because they have thousands upon thousands of Acrobat licenses, and the only thing they know about these licenses is, so are they allocated or not? But whether the Acrobat is actually being used, and it's very, very hard to create a business case. So do you need a PDF writer or not? Everybody in the organization can say, yeah, I need to edit PDFs. I'm purchasing, I'm legal, I'm HR, but maybe these people just use the Acrobat to edit the license once, and they never started again. But you are paying like what, $100 for the single license, and you can have 200 users like that in your organization. So Openlm can also help you track that. But I see, Oren, you wanted to go.
Oh yeah, I can answer the next one. There is a question about our Openlm agent installed on the license server or all client machines. So we have two types of agents. The first type is the Openlm license server agent, which we call Openlm broker. It's by default, it's not always mandatory, but it's highly recommended to install it. You can either go and just set it up on the machine. We even have the option to automatically distribute it to the machine and install it automatically. And after the initial installation, it runs on any platform, any operating system. It's a Java application, and it will update automatically from the Openlm interface in case you need to upgrade it. This is about the license server agent. Now about the Workstation Agent. Workstation Agent is not mandatory. We can cover many of the engineering software without the agent. The agent has a lot of benefits, and it extends the functionality of Openlm to many other license managers and type of applications and field, including application running on the browser. So, and we provide different type of applications. So we have the operating system agent. You can distribute, it runs on any platform, again, Windows, Linux, Mac OS. It will automatically update as needed. And we have other agents such as browser agent and the IDE agent and extensions for Autodesk and so
on. Okay. There is one more question by Stephen. How does Openlm collect Autodesk single subscription? I think this is what you just answered, right? After
Rita. Yeah. So for Autodesk, we are reading the entitlements from the vendor portal, from Autodesk portal, and we are reading the actual usage using an extension that we install into the workstation, and this gives you amazing control over this very expensive and complex licensing. So you can decide whether someone needs to have a token or someone needs to have a subscription. Is he actually using the licenses you allocated to him? And you can also know the individual products that are used within a collection, as was asked before.
I also want to add a remark about the token flex licensing, because the token flex enterprise model is something that Autodesk still allows, and we personally believe it's the best model. Too bad the small organization cannot get it. So we do have a dedicated reporting to actually report on the token flex. It requires a little bit of configuration, because the token cost for the individual Autodesk products can actually be a little bit different. Maybe I can actually show it on the interface in here. I have it opened. Yeah, so as you can see, we have an interface for the token flex where you can go ahead, you can see all the products that you have, you can assign them to pools, you can enter the token rate, and then you can actually go ahead and use the Openlm built-in reporting to see what is happening with your token flex licenses. One of the most important ones is looking for the duplicate checkouts, or already explained that on the last webinar, so there is a recording of that. So it can definitely help you improve the utilization of your tokens and prepare you for the hard discussion when the token renewal comes with Autodesk. So help you understand how much you actually need.
There is a question I want to take here from Ketil Huberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a kind of viewer accessible for the regular user? And this is a question I like, because in Openlm, we see everyone as our customer, not only the license administrator. The system is for everyone, for high-level management, for the people that actually manage the application, for the support team, for the IT team, and also for the end users. So yes, we have an interface that is dedicated to the end user. It's called Openlm Personal Dashboard. It actually runs on the browser. It interacts with the user, provides him the information about license availability, sending him license availability notification when he's denied, and also providing information about how is he utilizing the network licensing, and what can he do in order to improve and be more friendly to the organization. This is under constant development, and it goes with the agent, but it doesn't require the agent. So you can expose the user to the personal dashboard even without installing the agent, but if you install the agent, you get more functionality.
Sudipta, I just want to add on Oren's remark. So this is the thing we do for the user, but we also do offer an extensive roles and permissions configuration window, which allows you to go and basically you can select any piece of the Openlm interface, as you can see it here, and you can create groups of users, or you can do it for individual users, and you can say to the system, I want the user to be able to manage this. I want the user to be able to view this. So interact or view. So you can actually have a group of people. You only want to show them this one license manager to see what's happening with that. You can do that. You want users to only be able to access a license activity report. You can do that. You want an administrator to be able to manage the license manager, restart, upload new license files. You can do that. And at the same time, you can have a different group of users that only can see the license manager and usage associated with it. And another group of users, that don't see anything. So whether it's on the user level on the workstation or it's on the level of the system, you can configure these roles and permissions and make sure that only the users you want to see the stuff they are allowed to see. So basically, almost every component of the interface can be configured with an either allow or deny rule.
I'll take another quick question from here. How is the connect between Servicenow and Openlm? So basically, what we created together with the Servicenow team, there is an application dedicated for engineering licensing within the Servicenow platform. And the second component is an ETL process that is actually taking the data from only the new data from Openlm database, reducting it a little because it's too much information for the Servicenow platform, and sending it to the Servicenow platform. We it goes through multiple configuration processing stages, but eventually you get the information within the platform, and you can also analyze it on the Servicenow platform. The good part is that you bring your engineering licensing into the same process and the same handling as any other license type that you might have in the organization, and you're already managing using the Servicenow platform.
Right. There are a few more questions. So Katie asked, is there a kind of viewer accessible for the regular user?
We already answered that.
Yes.
We already answered that. So
Okay,
I think we should answer Tora's questions, because Tora has like four of them. Tora has like 4 of them, and Tora is new to Openlm, so and we hope he's happy. Support for the new Autodesk token model. I'm actually going from the bottom. So this is something that we are developing right now, and hopefully, Oren, right, maybe 1-2 more sprints, and we will be able to deliver this. Support for Chaos License Manager. Honestly, I'll admit this is the first time I hear about this.
I heard about it. I've seen some communication about it. It should be either on the preparation, but we might need a support here.
Sample.
You, Tore. So we'll ask Natalia to contact you.
Yeah, the easiest way for us to develop it, if a customer requires a new license manager, is so we need to see if the license manager is able to provide a readable output, that then we can transpose and implement it into the system. So Tora will have Natalia, our colleague who is responsible for implementation of new license managers, reach out to you and make sure that we can get this done. Now, Oren, I would like to help you to answer this question. So can Openlm monitor add-ins installed in Revit or AutoCAD?
Yeah, so basically, I think that the extension doesn't work for Revit, as far as I know. So in AutoCAD, yes, but in Revit, no.
I just want to say here that we are exploring we know that some of the engineering applications actually do utilize different DLLs that are loaded when a plugin is taken. I'm just saying this is no promises, but we are exploring internally the ability to maybe pair this DLL loading with a plugin license that is being consumed.
Yes. Okay, and we might have news about that soon.
Yeah. I want to answer a question from Tomáš. I hope it's not Thomas, but Tomáš, because this name, is very familiar. So I would assume Czech Republic or Slovakia. Hi. If there is a reservation of a license, can I discover if the user is really using the license? Now, this is the question, and this is something that we really like to showcase the strength of Openlm. So usage versus active usage. So is the application running versus is the application actually being used? And in the case of reservation, yes, it is showcasing in the system as the license, as the application is permanently running because the license is reserved, it's taken offline from the pool. But in this case, yes, if you have the Openlm agent, you can actually do the comparison, and we are exploring the opportunity again to make our agent work offline. So right now it requires the connection to the Openlm system to be able to showcase the idle time or to be able to save and close the applications. But for the idle time, it's something that again we are investigating and we want to implement. The agent similar as the broker right now, because the Openlm broker, when it loses connection to the Openlm server, it buffers the data and then it tells the Openlm server after the connection is reestablished. So this is something that we also want to implement for the Openlm agent, specifically for the case that you have just risen. So I have a license that my engineer has taken offline because he's traveling for the next 30 days. He's claiming that he needs this expensive license for 30 days to take it from the pool. And when he gets back from the business trip, I would like to see, was the application actually being used or not? So this is again something that we are working hard to develop.
So we're
ready 10 minutes
after the schedule. So is there any other question that we didn't take?
Did you answer the one
Farooq's
2-month
question,
POC trial, Sudipta? The question from
yes,
Anil?
I did. Manil, yes, I did. Yes. And even for Farooq also, I answered. Yeah, on top Farooq's were there. So I think, yes, I think we answered everything. I would request, please answer the survey link that we have provided, and we will take it from there. We will definitely connect with you all for your further queries. And if you want us to cover anything else on the demo, please do write us, and we will be coming about that shortly. Thanks all. Thank you again for joining this webinar.
And I wanted to say thank you for dedicating the time to us. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.